This past weekend, Maryland athletics struggle all across the board. Another heartbreaker for Terps football and disappointing outings from the Plex. But there's one squad having one of its best years in recent memory. All that coming up on this week's edition of The Left Bench.
Welcome to The Left Bench, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Joni Onsavich, and right next to me is my finely dressed partner, Benji Kaufman. And Benji, this past weekend was quite an eventful one for Maryland athletics.
Yeah, Jonah, I like the tie you got going on, and lots of action for the Terps this past weekend, but a lot of attention was on the game a couple thousand miles away at the Rose Bowl. TSC's Ben Geffner and Aiden Curry were lucky enough to make the journey to LA. And after two straight losses, Maryland football was looking for a West Coast win versus a red-hot UCLA team.
But as Terps fans saw, for the third straight week, Mike Locksley's group wasn't able to finish in the fourth quarter. Ben and Aiden have more.
Hey Jonah, hey Benji. Ben Geffner alongside Aiden Curry just minutes after the Terps lost 20-17 to UCLA live at the Rose Bowl. Another disheartening loss for Maryland. You start to see the defense come together to start things off, but they crumble down the stretch. What went wrong, Aiden?
I think it's just the same. It's the classic can't put a full 60 minutes together. I think we saw a great 55 minutes from the defense that kind of slipped away at the end. And on the other side, in those same final 5-10 minutes, you saw the offense pick it up. But playing complementary football has been the issue over these past three games, and it showed up again today.
No doubt. And head coach Michael Locksley postgame said it's not so much about the why, but about the what, how they can improve. And you saw it on the defensive end, but the offense couldn't come together late, and they couldn't get the stops when they needed to. A common theme throughout the last few weeks. Let's see if they can get right with the bye week, reassess, and a tough game against Indiana on November 1st. But pitch it back to you guys for more in the studio.
Thank you, Ben and Aiden. Speaking of great uniforms, that was a great uniform game. Let's keep this conversation going as we welcome Terrapin Sports Central football beat writer Michael Stamatos to the desk. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
I'll start off by asking, Mike Locksley has said that this Terps team feels different, even though fans will have another picture in mind. Maryland started 4-0, but now they struggle again against non-conference opponents. It seems like that same old movie that we've been seeing the last few years. How do you think the Terps fit into that narrative? Is this Terps team different despite the same record?
Well, Locksley's a little bit right when he says this team feels different, because just the eye test, this team looks different. They have an excellent freshman quarterback. They have a much better defense than they've had in previous years, led by two great guys on the line, and Zaire Mathis and Sidney Stewart. But the result just keeps on being the same as previous seasons. The team keeps on collapsing, a lot of bad penalties, a lot of blown leads. In the last three fourth quarters, we've gotten outscored 44-7, which is just same old Maryland.
So speaking of those blown leads, those bad penalties, all in the last three games, how does Maryland bounce back against Indiana?
Well, Indiana's a really, really tough team. They're ranked number 2 in the nation. They have a top 3 defense and offense statistically in the conference, and they're led by a great quarterback in Mendoza. So first thing is that defense has got to get after him. Those guys on the line, they got to get after him. They have a great rushing attack for Indiana. They have a former Terp, Roman Hemby, and Kalen Black. Both those guys have over 400 rushing yards on the season. No Maryland back is over 300, so it's the linebacker's job to make those plays. They got to stuff those guys. And then the stat that really stands out looking at Indiana, 11.6 points per game allowed, one of the best defense in the conference. And Maryland's red zone offense, not been good. They're going to have to convert on opportunities when they get down there if they want to hang in this game.
So this game is on a primetime stage. CBS is coming here, 3:30 kickoff. What can Maryland do to shock the world? What's the key matchup for you?
Key matchup? I think it's just Malik Washington. Just Malik Washington against everybody, basically. He's been this offense, and he's going to have to play lights out if Maryland wants to win this game.
And talking more about that offense, over halfway into the season, it still seems that Maryland doesn't even have a run game on its offense, which is something Locksley has expressed emphasis on. Like, what has to be done for the Terps to develop a run game as we're entering the home stretch for the season?
Well, I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but I think it's Malik Washington again. The running backs, DeJuan Williams, Nolan Ray, both under 4 yards per carry this season on average. They're not going to magically find more lanes or magically just become better. But Malik Washington last week, he was the Terps' leading rusher, 67 yards on, I think, 11 attempts. And if he can continue just running, they could call some RPOs, they could call some QB runs, just throw that extra option at defenses, because Washington's been passing the ball like 40, 50 times a game. Teams are expecting him to sit back there and chuck it. So he's going to have some rush lanes open.
So there's been a lot of talk, and we're going to save the hardest question for last week. I'm sorry about that. But do you think next year we could be seeing a different head coach on the sideline for Maryland football?
Well, it's up to Jim Smith, and he posted this morning, "Happy Monday" to Terps fans, and all the comments were just "Fire Locksley." So the fans seem to want that. But you got to think, if Locksley goes, what happens to the recruits? What happens to Malik Washington, Zier Mathis, Sidney Stewart? What happens to Zion Ely, who's one of the best players in the nation, and he's coming in next year? In the NIL world, and all those guys might just not be here if Locksley's not here. But you also have to think that they've lost a ton of winnable games. The season they came in with low expectations. Then after the first 4 games, expectations were high, team looked good. Now they're back down again. So I think that Locksley's Maryland career, his Maryland tenure, might actually come down to 2 games this season, Rutgers and Michigan State. Those are 2 games that Maryland football is supposed to win. Maybe the last 2 games this year they're supposed to win. If they can't beat either of those teams, I think the conversation might be very loud for Locksley to have his last year in College Park.
Do you think they beat those 2 teams and make a bowl game?
I'd like to hope so. I think they should beat those 2 teams. I don't know if they will. We'll see how they do in the 4th quarter.
All right, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Thank you so much for joining us. That's all we got for
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
You can keep up with all of Mike's coverage by going to terrapinsportscentral.com and following him on X at Mike Stamatos36.
And at the beginning of the season, Coach Lockley said the Terps were moving away from their TBIA motto, an acronym that stands for "The Best is Ahead." The thinking, the best is no longer ahead if it's happening right now.
But just over halfway through the season, Maryland continues faltering in the present, once again pointing the focus toward the future. TC's Aiden Curry has more from out west.
At the start of October, Maryland football's first ever trip to the Rose Bowl to face a then winless UCLA team looked like it would be a glorified vacation. But on October 4th, contrasting results simultaneously materialized on opposite coasts, and the programs have been moving in different directions ever since. As such, Saturday was a microcosm of that contradicting momentum.
Maryland's 20-17 loss here in Pasadena saw a 4th quarter lead slip away for the 3rd straight week. But the path to Saturday's result was a little bit different from the previous 2.
The Washington loss was a 4th quarter collapse on both sides of the ball, while the Nebraska defeat featured an inability to make timely defensive stops. This loss to the Bruins was a foil to the previous weekend's defeat. The Terps' defense held UCLA to 7 points from its first 12 possessions before the Bruins put up a touchdown and 2 field goals on their final 3. On the other side, Maryland's offense found the end zone for the first and only time with just 40 seconds left in the game.
I'm going to ask what we need to do, what I need to do to get us to be able to finish these games. And to me, that's a growth mindset that this team has, and I promise you, that's where we are. That's how I'm coaching them. That's what my job will be the next next week with the bye week coming upon us, is to not say why. We're not victims, but what we can do.
That Locksley referred to is regenerating the same complementary football that keyed Maryland to its hot start this season. Though getting both units to click at the same time is a lot easier said than done. But Maryland quarterback Malik Washington remains positive nonetheless.
Another, tough one this week, and I know guys are down, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. We just got to endure. We talked about it all week, being able to endure. And we thought, this week was going to be a week, like we've been through fire. It's our time, to be able to rejoice. But these endurance things, they only make you stronger at the end of the day.
It may sound like blind optimism to some, but dwelling on the past is trivial at this point. All the Terps can do now is look forward. For Terrapin Sports Central, from the Rose Bowl, I'm Aiden Curry.
Thank you, Aiden, for that great package. I just want to make a note, Benji. Mike Locksley said, "I am not the victim" 5 times in that press conference. What does that say?
It just seems like Locksley is super agitated. You can tell from that press conference the team is frustrated as a whole, and we'll see if they can turn it around. And still to come on the left bench, Maryland field hockey faces the #1 team in the country.
And men's soccer does something they haven't done since 2018. We'll tell you about that next.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back to the Left Bench. I'm Joni Yancevich, and that's my partner, Benji Kaufman. We opened the show talking about Maryland football, but how about Maryland's men's football?
Yeah, Jonah, the Terps have been cooking, and they stirred up a dominant win over Ohio State. The Terps are yet to drop a game on the pitch, winning 9 and drawing 3. This weekend was more of the same with another big win, toppling the Buckeyes 4-0. 46 seconds is all Maryland needs to take over. It took a review to confirm it, but Joseph Umberto Picado helped Maryland jump out to an early lead. Both teams generated some chances over the next 60 minutes, but who else but Saddam Soreka notching his 5th goal of the season. The Terps add more insurance, tallying more goals in the later frame of the game, completing the 4-zip shutout over Ohio State. Maryland has not allowed a goal in 4 straight contests, and when was the last time that happened? 2018, when the Terps won the national championship. It's been that kind of year for Maryland with real postseason hopes. Now, Maryland field hockey, who dropped a heartbreaker on Friday, the Terps got out to a quick goal but were shut out the rest of the way and lost 2-1 to Indiana for the first time ever.
On Sunday, the Terps were back in action, this time to face a very familiar foe. Oren Korzak joins us now with what went down. Owen?
Yeah, guys, number 10 Maryland field hockey had a chance to take down Goliath yesterday as it hosted the number 1 Northwestern Wildcats. However, that did not go as planned. Maryland comes out right out the gate. Just about 5 minutes into the game, freshman midfielder Juna Eichelboom converts on a penalty corner, giving the Terps a quick 1-0 lead. Terps continue to apply strong pressure for the remainder of the quarter. Terps prevent the Wildcats from attempting a single shot on goal. In the second quarter, as the score remains 1-0 after 30 minutes. Third quarter is where everything starts to unravel for Maryland. Wildcats offense starts generating some early chances, and Olivia Bent-Cole draws a penalty stroke. It's when Maddie Zimmer ties things up at 1. Northwestern's offense continues to stay hot as they draw 4 penalty corners following the stroke. Maryland prevents the Wildcats from converting on the first 3, but senior Maya Shavoynovich is able to beat Klobasco, giving Northwestern a 2-1 lead going into the fourth quarter. Despite a few good looks, the Terps are unable to find the equalizer, dropping a second straight game at home. Here's Missy Maharg after the 0-2 weekend.
You know, watch the game. The lesson is you're good. That's the only lesson I can say. We're really good. You got to be willing to accept it and be great. We got to get good to great much quicker than what we've done so far. Do I believe we can do it? Yes.
Even though we're still a few weeks away from postseason play, this weekend was really detrimental to the Terps. They got upset on Friday. They lost to the Indiana Hoosiers in a shootout. Now you mix in the Northwestern game. Maryland has now dropped 6 straight to Northwestern. And on top of that, Maryland's now 1-9 in their previous 10 matchups against the Cats. Maryland is currently slated as 4th in the Big Ten. This means that even if they win their first tournament game, they'd likely face Northwestern in the second round. The Terps will likely face Northwestern again at some point in the postseason, but the question is if they'll be able to conquer their demons.
And in those games against Northwestern, Maryland has been in it. None of those losses in the recent years were blowouts, so if they were to meet again in the Big Ten tournament or even the national tournament, do you give Maryland a real chance against Northwestern?
Maybe I'm an optimist, but if you watched the game yesterday, they were the better team, definitely, without a doubt, the first half. They outshot Northwestern 7-1. 3 of Maryland's shots were on goal. None of them were on goal for Northwestern. And typically, if you have 7 shots in one half, you're probably going to net more than one in. Maryland, they're shooting very low percentage right now. I think they're last in the Big Ten. That's definitely a concern. But they nearly scored a few times. Jordan Holloman had a breakaway when the score was still tied at 1-1. Typically 9 times out of 10, she's your leading goal scorer. She's going to score that. The goaltender for Northwestern, Juliana Boone, made a lot of really good saves. And then, there's stuff that can be fixed. They scored on the penalty stroke. That's not going to happen every game.
Now let's talk about that offense right there. It's been struggling all season. Why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, so I give you three reasons for that. Number one, injuries. Maryland, they were without star sophomore Ella Gayton this year. She's one of 4 players from Maryland who's really been consistently on the score sheet. Not only is she productive, she's clutch. She has 2 game-winning goals against top 15 opponents. They could have really used her this weekend. So when she gets back, I think the offense will look a little bit better. Second, it's youth. This is a team, we heard from Missy Maharg yesterday, 11 of the 26 players on this team were not on the team last year. They're still getting used to playing with each other. A lot of freshmen, so they're still kind of getting their feet wet in college field hockey. And then lastly, a lot of out-of-position players. Jordan Holloman, just talked about her. She's typically a midfielder and a defender. She's been playing forward pretty much all season. Maryland, they're very inconsistent. They'll be hot one half. That's this weekend, the first half. Second half, kind of fall off a little bit. Once they get consistency, I think that they'll be really hard to beat.
Thank you, Owen. Now turning our attention to the hardwood. Maryland took a trip out to East Lansing, taking on Michigan State for its first of a 3-game road trip. MSU opens up the game with a 25-18 first set win. Second set is all Maryland. Hughes' squad blows past the Spartans, finishing the second set on a 10-1 run. The Spartans win a dominant third set, however. Terps continue to show their resilience and come back from an 8-1 deficit in the fourth set. But Maryland comes up just short, losing to Michigan State 3-2. Despite the loss, both Ajak Malawal and Haley Melby have big days for the Terps, each recording 10-plus kills.
Now to Maryland women's soccer. The Terps hope to take down number 25 Ohio State for the first time in over a decade, but fell short, giving up 3 unanswered goals in the second half. The first 30 minutes of play, the teams trade possessions and shots. Maryland strikes first blood as Kelsey Smith scores her 6th goal of the season, giving the Terps a 1-0 lead. But the second half was all Buckeyes. Just 3 minutes in, El Britt finds the back of the net, notching the game up at 1. Ohio State keeps the pressure on with quality shots on goal, leading to Maryland surrendering 2 more goals just seconds apart in the 82nd minute, sealing the 3-1 win for the Buckeyes. Maryland's losing streak extends to 7 games with the season finale on Sunday.
A mindset that our team needs to have, whether we start the game or we start in the second half, or the way we respond from conceding goals. That's exactly it. We haven't had the right mindset.
Now stick around, because when we come back, we'll be playing a game that will get you arguing.
And we will reveal our Terp of the Week, Pro Terp, and our favorite top 5 plays. Don't go anywhere.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back to the Left Bench. I'm Benji Kaufman. He's Joni Jansevich. Our show airs around dinner time, so if you're eating dinner right now, this next video might make you a little jealous.
Yeah, Benji, I'm already hungry ready to watch this video. We mentioned TSC's Ben Geffner and Aiden Curry were on site for Maryland football's loss versus UCLA. But before the game, Ben went around the Rose Bowl looking for the best food.
Enjoy this version of Locks or Knocks on the road.
You're in beautiful Pasadena, California for an on-the-road edition of Locks or Knocks. Maryland football's first ever game at the Rose Bowl, and TSC is on site for it. In this special edition, we're going to be reviewing 3 different foods. First up, a dessert from the main concourse, then an entree from the main concourse, and finally an entree from inside the media workroom. Let's give it a go. A lock or a knock on 3 different foods right here at the Rose Bowl. Starting off strong with dessert at the Italian ice stand right here. Who says you can't have dessert first before the actual meal? Here's a mango Italian ice. Let's see if we lock it or knock this one. Bye. It's a little crispy on the ice, which I like. It's gonna melt quick. I'm gonna lock this one in. An early lock-in for the dessert. A really great flavor of mango here. I'll give it one more bite. Yeah, it's really good. I don't know if it's fresh fruit or if it's artificial fruit, but nonetheless, I give that a big lock to start things off. The brain freeze starting to set in a little bit here. Do a close-up on the ice. You see the texture there, but it's so cold, so much crispness, so frozen. It's really tough. That's generating a brain freeze right now. It's tough to concentrate. And the consistency on this ice is so strong. Yeah, it's gonna melt. Yeah, it's gonna get a little mushy after a while, but to start things off, right from the freezer, bonus points for sure. Locking this one in.
Cameraman speaking here. He is trying to work off the brain freeze by walking around.
We're scouting for an entree here. A lot of choices. The Arroyo Market, a lot of stands over here. It's about picking the right one and where to find the right one, where that one is at. Obviously, it's a hot day. I want something cool. I just got something cool, but it's time for the entree. Let's get a little spice in there. Let's get a little hotness. I want something local, something with a Pasadena flavor to it. Let's see if we can find something. Make quick work of this Italian ice right here, and the price is right for the taqueria right here. We're gonna get a burrito or a taco. I'm still trying to decide. The price is right. Let's see how it tastes though. Is it a lock or is it a knock? Here's the taqueria. How do you rate the food here 1 through 10?
I'll give it like 9.5 out of 10. Yeah.
What's your favorite item here?
Probably a burrito. It's pretty good.
Okay. I'll go for a burrito. Got the burrito. The chef's choice in hand, made a full circle around the concourse. It's time for the entree, the moment I've been waiting for the entire video. Let's give it a go. First bite, everyone knows the rules. That's phenomenal. Oh my gosh. I can taste the lime and cilantro. A lot of the beans too in there, but still savory. A little bit of guac in there too, I taste. Let me get one more. See the rice? Nice pinto beans coming across the right side there. This might be a sweep. I'm gonna lock this one in. Another lock. Start with the dessert. Now we go to the entree. 2 back-to-back locks. The Rose Bowl has unbelievable food apparently. It's an LA local, the taqueria right here. The chef's choice got the burrito, lived up to the hype, folks. Walking up the UCLA tunnel just minutes away from kickoff now. Back-to-back locks, but our final item after taking a look inside the media workroom does not look promising. We're on cruise control, but the wheels might just fall off on this one. Here alongside guest contributor Daniel Stein. Daniel's gonna try a bite of the hot dog, give it a lock or a knock. Daniel, what's the verdict?
All right, let me take a bite first. Sorry in advance for this edition of TSC ASMR. I gotta say, Ben, you know, I'm from Chicago. It's where the good glizzies are, and I gotta knock this one. I love me a good hot dog, but you know, it's good for media food. It's just not it.
Well, that's a wrap for our special on-the-road edition of Locks or Knocks from the Rose Bowl with a full stomach. I'm Ben Geffner.
Great coverage, Ben, and I love the Dave Portnoy reference with the one bite, everyone knows the rules. And moving forward, I'm hoping to see some more BG food content for Terrapin Sports Central.
That would be great, but I got 2 things. First thing, when he was scooping the mango ice cream or whatever that was, he dropped the bite. He dropped the scoop and then to scoop again, so that's not the first bite. And what's up with the sunglasses indoors in the media room? Well, I want to see more of that.
We'll see.
So now it's game time. Benji and I are going to be putting on our PTI masks to play Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon, except we're going all in on Maryland athletics. Let's get a timer queued up and get going. So the first thing is we got to talk about Mike Locksley grading out his tenure. It's his 7th year in Maryland as the full-time head coach, and I got to say, I got to give him a C. Perfectly average, Benji, because one thing, Locksley helped rescue the program after a downtime in 2018. Outside of that, the recruiting's been decent. He did make 3 straight bowl games, but past year, this year, the direction of the program is downward trending. I got to give him a C.
I'll be a little more generous. I think he has a B. He has recruited really well, focusing on the DMV area, and he's dominated against non-conference opponents. But 7 years in, we still haven't seen that real signature big win over a big opponent. But overall, I definitely think the program has certainly progressed rather than regressed.
I think a B's too much, though, because the recruiting hasn't really shown itself on the field besides a couple of players. Where are the wins? Where are the wins against ranked conference opponents? He has none. He's 0-10 on the off bye weeks in conference. That's giving him too much leeway.
A lot to improve upon, but I still think those 3 straight bowl wins are something to take with this Terrapin progression. But yeah, he's still got a lot to clean up there.
Yeah, but if you think this year, 4-0 start, then that win against Wisconsin, you were there. That was their vibes were at all-time high. In these past 3 games off the bye week, crushing.
Yeah, Locksley did say this team was different, but it just feels more the same. Winning the first 4 and now losing the last 3.
So maybe there's something we can agree upon a little more. Volleyball hasn't had the greatest start, but I think they are primed for a ranked upset this year. I got to go with Minnesota, November 21st. Do you think, take a guess, what was Maryland's last ranked conference win for volleyball?
Last conference win? I'm hoping the last 2-3 years or so.
So it was in 2023, home game versus Minnesota. I think Adam Hughes' squad can get that upset again. Minnesota is currently ranked 14th, so it'll be a really big upset in the path. But I think the combination of Haley Melby and Ajax Malawal, it will be too much for the Gophers. I think Hughes can beat the Gophers again.
It's a great pick, but I'm going to go with the Terps going out on the road and upsetting the Indiana Hoosiers, who are ranked 22nd in the country. And while Maryland has not had some good luck against Indiana, they have won the last 2 of the last 3 in Bloomington. So I think Adam Hughes is one of those coaches that can get the players ready for a big game, and I think he can do it again in Bloomington.
I got to disagree. They're on the road this week in LA. They're at USC and at UCLA before that. How are they going to have the energy from that West Coast road trip, thousands of miles away? Then they have to play a good Indiana team after that. How are they going to have the energy after just all those tough games in LA, that travel? I think the home game against Minnesota is the better pick.
I think it's tough, but I think if there's one coach in Maryland volleyball history that's going to do it, it's Adam Hughes. Obviously, he reached 100 career wins last year, picking up some better players this year with Malawal and Melby this year. I think they can get it done on the road.
Well, we'll see. I do think the conference record the past couple of years for Coach Hughes is a bit to be concerned of, because he's been 7-13 for multiple years straight. He's been able to beat kind of the bottom dwellers of the conference, but it's similar to Coach Mike Locksley. It's those top teams in the conference Maryland's still not being able to beat. Maybe they can do that this year. I think Minnesota is the game for that.
I think at some point it's got to happen. I mean, yeah, you said it, bottom tier of the Big Ten, but if it's going to happen, Adam Hughes is going to be the one to get it done. And on the road, it'll just be that more impressive in Bloomington. And now to talk about the ceiling for this year's Maryland field hockey team, I think even despite the struggles, Missy Mahar can take this team into the second round of the tournament. There's lots of talent and a lot of sister talent as well, and they just haven't come out of the half playing well. We saw what Owen talked about against Northwestern, and I think Missy is the coach to fix those adjustment habits and get the team right and grabbing a win in the tournament.
Second round is way too far. Maybe not way too far, but too far for me. I think this is a first round exit team. The injuries, the offensive play, the level of competition, it's all not working together for Maryland right now. You saw this past weekend. We were talking about the Northwestern game. What we haven't talked about is the Indiana game this past Friday. That was a collapse by Maryland. They scored a goal in the first couple of minutes of the game, then gave up a goal in the last quarter of the game, and then lost in penalty shootouts to Indiana, a team that hasn't won a conference game all year. The 0-2 weekend just couldn't go worse for the Terps.
I think it's okay that it happened now. They still got a lot of time to pick it up, and I think we're forgetting that Maryland went on the road and upset Iowa when they were ranked 10th in the country. They still have a lot of talent, a lot of capability, and I think Missy Maharg, legendary coach, almost 40 years of coaching, I think this is just another challenge for her that she will get it done and grabbing a win or two in the tournament.
Just lastly, they are last in the conference with a 12.2 shot percentage and second to last in total goal scored. That's not good. So our final topic is this going to be, well, I got the right answer here. The MVP of this year's soccer team for Sasha Swarovski is Stefan Njike, number 77. He's like Luka Doncic out there on the pitch. I mean, he's incredible passes, 4 assists on the year, 5 goals on the year, leads the team with 14 points. He can do it all. It's like he's Luka for the school. I mean, like, he's a threat from anywhere to score. He's the focal point for the offensive attack, and the defense is always concerned around him. He can feed the other players like Luke Van Hoekelen on the team. He's got to be the MVP.
Now, I'd argue that he wouldn't be this good if it wasn't for someone so good in the back of the net for him to rely on. Lauren Mack in goal has been amazing. He's only allowed 7 goals on the year, which is the best in the conference. Second most saves in the Big Ten. He has allowed the most shutouts with 7. And guys, I said it, guys like Njike, Masareka, I don't think they can be more aggressive, more confident if there wasn't someone in the goal to be so confident on. Give me number 38.
How do you win games in soccer? You need to have goal
defense
scorers.
Wins championships.
Goal scorers. If it's a 0-0 game, that's a tie. That's not a W in the standings.
Well, they got 3 of those. They haven't lost yet. They're having one of the best seasons in years, and one of those reasons is Mac not losing.
If they tied all their games, they wouldn't be where they are. They're number 8 in the country, soon to be higher ranked because of Stefan Njike. He would be this team's Ballon d'Or if you're a soccer fan like myself. He's the MVP of this year.
All right, I'll give it to you this one, but I'm still taking number 38 in goal 10 out of 10 times.
Well, that's all the time we had today to argue, even though I totally won.
Okay, sure. We'll give it to you this time.
All right. Now let's get to everybody's favorite part of the show, my favorite part of the show, Terp of the Week. Our Terp of the Week is none other than Joseph Umberto Picotto. Picotto had a day against the Buckeyes, including scoring the first goal of the match right here, hitting the defender in the goal. You don't see that any day of the week. And with a world-class assist off a free kick. He isn't the first and probably won't be the last Maryland men's soccer player to be our Terp of the Week this year. Congrats to JUP.
Well, lots of professional Terps were in action over the weekend, but Nick Cross may have had the biggest impact in the NFL world as we crown him as this week's Pro Terp of the Week. Cross has been a key piece for the Colts defense this season, while Indianapolis finds itself in a resurgence. Here he is picking off Justin Herbert's pass to the end zone on Sunday, and in his 4th year, Cross now has 5 career picks with 1 this season. With 3 pass deflections and 1.5 sacks, the former Terp safety is putting together a solid season for the Colts. Congrats to Nick Cross on being named our Pro Terp of the Week.
So, and finally, you know what time it is? Top 5 plays. Benji, get us going.
I'll get us started here. Let's look at number 5. We have Kelsey Smith for Maryland women's soccer, maneuvering through traffic and just destroying this ball from distance. Let's get another look. Nice play there. Goalkeeper had no chance there. Nice play for Kelsey Smith.
So at number 4, Macy Bradford with the goal. Wait for it, nutmeg. In between the legs, in the beginning of that Indiana game. Just spectacular.
Nice goal there from number 4 in Maryland for field hockey. But let's go to number 3. Let's go back to men's soccer. Kenny Quist-Thurston heading this one in. Just an aggressive play to put the body on the line. Let's look at it again. Another nice pass here, and you can just see him flying out of nowhere. Great angle there to reach the top of the net. We talked about JUP. Now KQT getting in on the action.
At number 2, Juno Eichelboom for field hockey again. Look at that. Picks it up, slaps it into goal against Northwestern. What an athletic feat. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Neither would I. And now for number 1, let's go back out west one last time and look at this gorgeous pick 6 from Jamari Glasker, the transfer jumping in front of EMI Lava's pass. It was a huge play in the second half for the Terps. Just a nice play. Read that play the entire time. Did not have to travel far to score. And that probably is one of the few bright spots from this past weekend, something that Maryland will want to forget.
Well, Benji, you have the best tie in the game, and that about does it for this week. Be sure to keep up with all of TC's coverage on Instagram, X, YouTube, and online at TerrapinSportsCentral.com.
Join us next week. Andrew McBride and Ben Wolf will be back behind the desk, as always, at 6:30 on YouTube. Thanks for joining us.